right, good morning, party people. And today I am doing something with no practical value whatsoever. I heard at a conference somewhere, I want to say it was Eugene Meidinger, but it might have been somebody else. There was somebody in the community who said that people are using AI now in order to build charts, that they would have Power BI or SQL Server reporting services call out to chat GPT and they would describe the data. They would say, I got this chart with these or I got this grid of data with these values in it. Please make me a chart to match up with this data. And I was like, oh my God, that's so crazy, knowing how much AI hallucinates, how unreliable the data would be. But it got me thinking about a couple of things. It got me thinking about the spatial results tab in SSMS, which almost nobody uses. It's very underutilized. Let's go take a look and see what I mean. Oh, I know that's gonna be a black screen. As soon as I saw that, I realized I hadn't played around with this yet this morning. Let me point it to my desktop. There it is, and now we go. So Michael J. Swart is one of the people who uses this into really cute effects. Michael J. Swart is a blogger who has some really hilarious posts. He tends to do a lot of art on his blog posts, like draw things out. And he has done a few blog posts now that talk about getting results out of the spatial messages tab in SSMS. He's got the query on here. If you click birth of Venus, it's got the T-SQL query. I'm going to go ahead and paste that into Management Studio. So here's the exact query there. And I'm going to go hit execute. And there's a tab in the SSMS results that you probably never look at. Well, let me rephrase. It probably never shows up in your queries because it requires spatial data in order to do its work. And then look at that. When you click on it, ooh, you get a picture and you can color the picture and all kinds of cool stuff. People have used this to some comical results over the years. If I look at, for example, let's just Google for SSMS spatial results draw, there are people who are doing all kinds of fun stuff. I want to say this was Adrian that gave me this GitHub gist where you can actually, Adrian Sullivan, where he took my company logo or one of my company avatars and drew it in SSMS, which I find really funny. Okay, so those don't have a whole lot of practical use, but what if I had a query and I wanted to map the results as a line graph in SSMS? So in order to do it as just a simple getting started thing, we're going to write our own query here. I'm going to say select year of creation date as year, we'll call it YR, someone as users created from DBO users, group by year of creation date, order by year of creation date. Creation date. So I'm using the Stack Overflow database here, and I'm using one of the larger copies so that I've got a nice skew of data inside here. What if I wanted to graph these results? What if I wanted to show a graph or a chart over in the SSMS results tab? So, and people have done various things over the years. Sometimes people will add a column that has like pipe symbols in order to show the sizes of the various numbers. And we should even do that. Now, it would be a giant pain in the rear to write that manually, to like take the maybe could divide users created by 1,000 and then repeat the pipe symbol that many times. But this is where GitHub Copilot can be kind of fun. So just to show, I am using I'm using the latest version of SQL Server Management Studio as of this recording, this live stream. So I've popped open GitHub Copilot chat. I'm going to move SSMS over a little bit just so that you can see it a little better, so that you can watch me typing a little better as we work. So let's put this over here and come down here. So I am going to say, have I got live chat on here? I do. Um, Given the query in this window, please add a column to chart the results. Use a pipe symbol, and I'll put it in there to kind of show it for the data quantity. Like da 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 would be a small number, and da 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 would be a big number. The number of pipes should dynamically adjust based on the number of rows in the query. Okay, so I hit enter on there and immediately started working. I do want to point out something though, because I'm zoomed in. So I am using whatever the last model was or the default for GitHub Copilot. You can change this, and I am going to. I am going to be changing it as we work through this, because different models will get you different qualities of results. The ones, generally speaking, the ones that cost a lot, the one that cost you 3 times as many credits will get you better results. But let's go see. Let's go see what this thing does. So I love it. I'll modify your query to add a visual chart column using pipe symbols. Okay, here we go. So let's go copy this out. Then let's try pasting it and hit execute. And let's see how this thing looks. I love it. Okay. Isn't that cool? That's so nifty. That's pretty special. I love it. So how did it choose to do this? So it chose to do it by saying, build this as a CTE first, which forces SQL Server to, I gotta watch what I say that. By putting it as a CTE first, it forces SQL Server to get these results if they're necessary in order to run this query, which it is here. This max of users created means that for SQL Server to do this part, it has to go through and execute this part first. So then replicate a pipe up to 50 times, the 1/50th of, okay, that makes sense. It's a bar for each 50th of max users created. That's really cool. So I could get a more fine-grained one. Oh, that's pretty nifty. So I love it. That's really cool. Very nice job, SQL Server Management Studio. Now that part isn't too hard. What comes in hard is the spatial part. And why it comes in hard is for a variety of reasons. And you'll see them as we start to go through. This is what made me start to live stream, was I started doing this and I immediately went, oh my God, this is such a hot mess that I have to share it with you because it's horrible. So we're going to say, great job. Like, I always like to encourage the robots to give them little carrots or things of motor oil for the work that they did. Great job. Now let's try graphing the results. Now let's remove that column. Let's say, whoopsie daisy. Great job. Let's try a different approach. Let's try graphing the results as a line chart in the SSMS spatial results tab. Okay, so what I'm looking for when I say a line chart is I want, you and I take for granted what a line chart is. You and I take for granted that it's going to be a grid. It's going to have an axis that goes kind of like this. And there's going to be a line that connects some stuff. Let's see what Management Studio comes up with. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look at what he says. Okay, scales both x-axis and user count axis to a 0 to 100 range for better visualization. Okay, so let's copy this out. Let's see what it did. Copy, and then let's maximize this out, paste it out, hit execute. Okay, so let's tell that. Let's copy this out. Let's copy this out and tell it. So we got an error with that Boom. Let's see what kind of a job it does. While it tries to digest, I'm going to hop over to my email because I just got a email from, oh yeah, I got confirmed on the vacation cruise that I wanted. That's fantastic. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. That's great. Perfect. Okay, so let's see. It came up with a new one. It says removed. What changed? We removed the groups. Oh, doggone, zoom in. We removed the group by that was causing each row to create its line string. We now aggregate all of the points into a single line string. Well, come on. How is that not obvious? That whoopsie daisy. Oh, GitHub's still churning. GitHub's still doing its thing. Oh, it took a minute there. It's kind of sketchy. So it says remove the group by that was containing a separate string for each row. Hey, Richie. Hey, good to see you over in chat. That's hilarious to me that it would do a separate line for each row. That doesn't make any sense. Created a single line string for across all data points using a separate CTE, then use the cross join to attach the completed line chart to each row. Oh boy. All right, let's see how this goes. Let's try applying it. And then, I hate it when it does stuff like that. I'm just going to copy it out. Copy, paste, and execute. Drum roll, please. Spatial results. And that is not a line chart. That is a plot. The plot thickens. It's just drawn a bunch of dots. It hasn't actually drawn a line chart here, and I don't, since I don't see a line, that's kind of a problem. Now, there is a catch over here. SSMS has a drop down over here for data points and line charts. So we're gonna go change that over to line charts and see how it does. Hey! Okay, that's much better. Now we'll look a little better. Now, I don't really need these lines because these lines aren't really relevant. You notice how the axis doesn't really make sense here. The numbers don't match up with the contents of what our data is. Oh, hi, Sycon. Didn't see you there in chat. Sorry about that. Thanks for the well wishes. So let's say the nice thing about this is I don't have to rerun the query. I can just uncheck this box here to show grid lines. And at least this gives me the chart results that I was looking for. So that's kind of cool. If I hover my mouse over these, year 2024, year 2024, year 2024, it's the same number on every one of these pop-ups. It's all 2024. Well, that doesn't make any sense. I'm going to say over in my explanations, I seem to have just one line. Before I say that, let's go take a look over at the results. So the results appear to be right. The results appear to show years going down the left-hand side and users created going down the left-hand side. So that appears to be correct. So I'm going to say I seem to have just one line I seem to have not just one line. Let me rephrase that. Let's be explicit here with this. Great. I now have a line chart with one line. However, when I mouse over each data point in the line, all of the lines say 2024. Or all of the tooltips say 2024 with the same users created number. Is it possible that the line chart somehow has the wrong tooltips, even though the data in the graph looks correct? So we'll see what happens here. Oh, I don't know that it ever stopped. It never stopped, never stopping. There's the stop button down there on my GitHub. Uh-oh. Stop. 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 Nothing's not doing anything. Hey, in the title of this webcast, I said that I was going to be making fun of GitHub Copilot, also SSMS Copilot. This is what I'm kind of thing that I'm talking about here. It's not just in how it interprets the instructions, it's also the overall bugginess of this thing. Now, in fairness, I think it still is in preview, but never stop, never stopping. So because of that, I'm going to copy this string out because I don't know that it's going to resuscitate that. I'm going to close. And let's copy the query too, just in case. Dump that over here. And then let's close SSMS. Do I want to save changes? No. Let's open it back up again. Go back into the same SSMS window. New query. Paste. Pop into the Stack Overflow database. So now let's see here. So it looks like Copilot didn't save what we were doing. It looks like Copilot may not have saved what the point where we were at. That's fine. Let's execute the query again and let's see if it works. Let's go over to spatial results. Now I am going to have to switch over to line chart instead of data point, I think. All right. Now let's hover our mouse over and sadtrombone.com. We're still having the problem where all the line things say 2024. So let's copy out our notes from the notepad. Copy. We'll send that over to Copilot and see what we get. So now that'll start working again. Saigon says, I can't wait for AI to take my DBA job. Oh, I got to put the chat back up because y'all should be able to see the chats. Saigon says, I can't wait for AI to take my DBA job. I could use a break. To some extent, AI does the DBA job about as well as I write T-SQL to as well. I have to give it credit for that. I could not write these queries, so I can't make too much fun at it. I'll poke too much fun at it. Although, I will say it goes in with an awful lot of blazing confidence. Richie says, can I introduce you to Matplotlib or PyChart? I know, right? It's one of these things where I'm like, you shouldn't be doing any of this. And I can kind of understand how the implementation of this would be pretty buggy because nobody uses it. I mean, hardly anybody uses the spatial results tab. So I can understand there's not a lot of training data out there to make this work. Plus, even if it does work, I don't know yet if that hover tooltip is a bug in Management Studio or if it's a bug in the T-SQL query. Okay, so now let's try this. Let's copy paste out. It says, it does say, yes, that's exactly what's happening. The cross join is duplicating the entire line chart geometry for every row, which confuses the tooltips. Each row contains complete stuff. Remorse says it's cool to see some Microsoft Stack on Twitch for. I know that's kind of why I stream too. It's fun to me. I adore watching Twitch. Like I have streamers, Burnt Peanut and Spooky Loops and Toki that I love watching, Gingy. But of course, it's kind of fun to be like a developer on here too as well. DK Kimbo, what's up, SQL nerds? Richie says my boss would fire me if I built charts in SSMS. I would probably fire anybody for building charts in an SSMS, which is what makes it so funny. Okay, so let's copy out its new version of the query and see if this is any better. So let's execute that. Spatial results. Okay, good. All right. Now, when we went into spatial results, I didn't have to change the column. Now it automatically shows the right one. And you can see that there's little bumps, which is cool. You see the little dots on there. I think it's coming through there in the stream. So let's hover our mouse over there and year null. Oh, it looks like, if I hover my mouse over the line, I get year null. If I hover my mouse over the year, I get data. Okay, so that's a little better. I like that a lot. That's better than it was. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now let's say when I'm going to move this over so that you can see me type. When I hover my mouse over the line, I get pop-up tooltips. So I got exactly. If I get rid of the data, he won't complain that it's wrong. That say null. Can we remove the tooltips on the line? Or if not, can we make the dot points much larger and easier to click, or click or hover on? Let's see what happens. I'm actually really surprised. The Claude Sonnet is working out. Claude Sonnet 4.5 is working. There is a. It just says no. DK Kimbo says that would be pretty cool. There is a 4.6. Oh, why am I not using 4.6? I'm such an idiot. I should be using 4.6, which is a newer model. So it costs the same. Oh, nice. Oh, it's looking even better. It says it's looking even better, that it's going to be easier to interact with. Let's copy it. Copy. And then paste. Execute. Go into the spatial results. Woo! That's amazing. That is gorgeous. That is fantastic. Except it doesn't work. God. Deco Kimbo says move over Power BI. What is about the same? I should watch what I say. Okay, let's let's move to the newest model. Let's move to Sonnet 4.6. And then Opus is also available, which puts even more thinking power into it. And so I'm going to try that next after I try 4.6 just to see. So bad news, the tooltips, or the dots are larger, but the tooltips all report null. Just to see, there was a drop down. Yeah, no, we don't have that either. So let's try that again. Let's see what happens. Rami says, psych. It's probably raw email. Rymil. I'm not quite sure how to interpret that one. Rymil. Let's see here. Let's see what it says. While it thinks for a second, I'm going to text Eve that we're on for this cruise. Just a second here. Okay. Goodness gracious. Still going. Oh, wow. Morris says, I can see the cursing in your eyes while you hold your mouth in that way. It is so true. Like I swear a lot in person. If you ever meet me in person, you watch me like work. I don't do it on presentation stages, but I try to have a real filter for when I'm working with clients or live streaming or being up on stage. But when I am working by myself or working with others, just not recorded, I swear like a sailor. I got all that from starting in restaurants. And again, oh, it didn't work? There it goes. So it says the problem is the line string passes directly through the center of each circle, and SMS pages the switch is to swap the union all in order. Swapping a union all doesn't matter because you still can't guarantee the results of the result set when you do a union all. You can't tell which ones are going to come out first. So this is the circles now win. They do not win, as we can see, we're hovering over the circle and nothing's happening. So what I'm going to do here now is I've been working with Sonnet, which is the Anthropic Claude's relatively fast model. They also have Haiku, which is even faster, but not even, dumber. It's like a kindergartner. It's fine for some tasks, but it's not fine for stuff like this. We're going to bring out the big guns. We're going to go up to Opus, which costs more. You can't use it as often with GitHub Copilot. And I'm going to say, no, the circles still have null tooltips. And we're going to let the big guns, the big dog out of the yard here and let it go in and give it another shot analyzing it. So to give you a rough idea, we're about 20 minutes into the stream and we still haven't been able to pull this off. We've probably only been working on this problem like 16, 17 minutes or so. But I love this as an example of if you try something obscure, with AI, even with a really good AI, it can be challenging to get good results. And this is certainly something obscure. Interesting. Use geometry to merge all the circles into one property. Use this to subtract the circles from the line, creating gaps. Neato! The lines and the circles no longer overlap. So let's remember this. Let's print this out and frame it. SSMS will always tooltip the correct geometry. Let's find out. Let's go up here and take a look. Copy and paste. Drum roll, please. I don't have a drum roll. Spatial results. Okay, so first off, those numbers aren't in order. They're not in order of year. So I find that kind of funny. Let's go over to spatial results. Ooh, the lines look better now. He was right. He subtracted the circle from the lines. They don't overlap anymore. That's awesome. Let's see what happens if we hover our mouse over a circle. Yay! Now we get it. Well, mostly you got to be right on top of the circles. Okay, that's pretty cool. I love it. That works really well. Now, what I'd like to be able to do is publish a blog post with two things. One is a prompt to let other people build results like this. And two, I'd like to try a stored procedure that will actually do it. SQL Fingers. Rebecca's here. Says, this is fantastic. Thanks, Brent. You're welcome, right? This is kind of funny. DK Kimbo says, is this a graph of my motivation to work from 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m.? It's probably as your boss comes into work. We should adjust it whenever your boss is nearby. That's when the motivation peaks and then it drops afterwards. So let's say I'm going to add another tweak to this. I'm going to say SSMS result tabs are typically landscape oriented, meaning they should be wider than they are tall. Can you adjust the axis to make the graph take up more horizontal space? Let's see. Because after all, it's not like we really care what the numbers are. We've taken away the grid lines. The grid lines are BS to begin with. If I put the grid lines back on, you can see that these numbers on the grid are totally meaningless. Sycon says, the peak is right before your boss says we need to change priorities. We're having a vision discussion. Okay, so let's try it again. Now, oh, look at that. This is amazing. This is so gorgeous. That's so cool. I love it. Now, I am tempted to ask for it to draw labels using geometry, like say 2017 in writing up above the 2017 bubble. However, the challenge is that it can't do that it can't just put text up there. It would have to draw the numbers 2017 or 1942 or whatever they are. I think that'd be really fun. I'm going to leave that as an exercise for later because I think I would love to have a font set that could be included with this, but that's getting pretty ambitious. I'm happy just where we're at here. So now I'm going to say to Claude, what I want is, great. Can you please write a prompt that will deliver results like this so that I can copy paste the prompt whenever I need the data graphed? I have never done this with GitHub Copilot. I do this with Claude in the chat user interface all the time. Like great, based on everything we learned so far in this session, can you summarize this for me so that I can give you a prompt that's better next time? So this is, look at that loveliness. Here's a reusable prompt that you can paste into Copilot chat. Fantastic. Let's see here. Let's go copy this out. Copy. And let's paste it into Notepad. Paste. Let's come into here. Given the query in this results window, graph the results as a line chart in the SSMS spatial result tab. That's love. Oh, I love how it did that. It handled the horizontal stuff here. Does a 300 to 100 or a 3 to 1 ratio on X to Y. Build a line screen, cut holes in the line. That's gorgeous. Make it a line circle. Union all. This is beautiful. I love it. What a gorgeous. We're going to save that. So I'm going to file save. I'm going to put that up on my desktop because it's a little VM that I just use for stuff like this. Line chart prompt.txt. So we'll include that in the blog post. Now let's crank it up a notch. I'm going to say, great. Can you write a stored procedure that when given a do I want to do it as a temp? I could do it as a... Could you write a view that when joined to the query results that the user has already... Joined to the query that the user has already written, will build this graph. A view isn't going to work because you got to pass in values. Let's try a user-defined function. User-defined function called DBO-FN graph spatial. You can use whatever input parameters you want in order to accept the incoming results. Let's see what happens. I really have no idea what to expect here. If I was going to write this myself, I think I would want a table. I think I would want the input results as a table data type. That had two parameters. One parameter might be label and the other parameter might be value. That's probably what I would do. And I would make the label probably an nvarchar because you can't predict that they're going to want to graph numbers as the labels. It could be like states, Arizona, California, Utah, whatever. And if it does come up with a number one, then I'm gonna say, could you do it with nvarchars to see? I should also say, I'm gonna write this down because we're gonna lose a few things once we get excited. Labels as nvarchar, SQL Server 2019 as target version. So we can use stuff like try cast and try convert. I don't know that it's going to need that, but target version and target compatibility level. Okay, so it's still doing its thing. I would expect this to take a minute because it should be kind of slow. G-Surgeon, hello Brent, hello chat. Richie says, little does Brent know, but I'm looking at his VM instance right now. Did I turn off 2025? In our lab, I'm going to go pop over into our lab. I think I turned off 2025 this morning, but I just want to make sure. I think I turned it off. Let's find out. EC2. And yes, good. It's turned off. Okay, good. Woo. Let's come back over here. There are 42 viewers right now. 42 people who are wasting their time learning things that don't matter in SQL Server but are hilarious. Okay, great. All right, so what did it do? Validation fail. Oh, love it. So it did use a user-defined table type. Okay, so let's make this nice and big. Let's make it wide so that we can read what Claude came up with. And so look at that. Love it. This requires a table. Well, I say love it because it did the design that I wanted. Goran says, respectfully, hilarious does not equal to wasted time. I say I love it because SQL Server or Copilot took the same approach that I would take, which was the table variable one, since the function needs all the rows at once for min-max scaling. Oh, that makes sense too. You can't do it as a view because of that as well. So first it created a user-defined table type. If I'm going to do a function that accepts a table, I have to declare the table type ahead of time before the function. So that's what it did. Declared a sort order, a float. A float? Float? I respect your flexibility, and I respect the fact that this data probably isn't accurate, but that's wild. I have not seen a float in SQL Server in a really long time. That's wild. I'm not even mad. I'm impressed. That's wild. Okay, sure. Does give us maximum flexibility. So then it goes through and declares this range. It loads stuff. I'll go real slowly here. Build the connecting line. Cut the holes where the circle. I love it. This is really cool. So it loads the data into a table into the user-defined data type. That's really cool. Let's try it. Okay, so let's create. Let's get back up here and copy all this text out. Copy. I am going to start a new query window only because I don't want to lose the other one. So we are going to create our table type. Then we're going to create our function. And I got a little worried here because I see IntelliSense fuzzy underlining. Could not find union aggregate. I don't know if that's a bug in IntelliSense yet or if union aggregate is not really a thing. Let's go find out. Create the function, execute. Oh. All right, now it says GitHub Copilot had said, here's how to use it with your existing set. Whoops, not apply, copy. So now let's come back over here and say, paste. All right, so moment of truth. Do you think this is going to work? Let's hear over in chat, how much faith do we have in what GitHub Copilot has done here? And to be fair, what Claude Opus did, 4.6, the expensive one. How much faith? Do we think this is going to work? Yes or no? Let's see what you'll say. DK Kimbo says there's a 10% chance. DK Kimbo says 10% chance. That's a good point. 10% chance of what? 10% chance that it'll work. I agree. Yep. Ramil says yes, but not as intended. I love that as the answer. Because if I had to pick one, I would probably say that. It's probably going to work, but probably not in the exact way that I intended it. Let's see. Let's execute it, and then let's go over and see on the spatial results tab. All right, I love it. We're also getting accurate pop-ups there. Now, this is the same query that we started with. But let's try to see what happens if we do letters instead of numbers. So I'm curious to see what it's going to end up doing if I throw in like Arizona, California, and so forth. So let's take this exact same thing and let's insert into that, sort order. All right, first I'm going to show you the data that I want to graph. Select top 10 location, count star as Rex, as people. From DBO users, group by location, order by count star descending. So I want to graph the top 10 locations. Now, of course, it's not going to look right in a null. Oh, I gotta filter out the nulls. Where location is anything other than an empty string. Okay, so this doesn't really make sense as a line chart yet. I'd rather do it with columns, but let's just see what happens. If I was going to do it, what would be the sort order that I would want it in? Probably alphabetically. So if I'm going to do them alphabetically, I got to first get the top 10. So I'm going to say with top locations as these guys right here. Then I'm going to say select. IntelliSense is absolutely banana here. I hit tab and it auto-filled all of this like crazy. I'm going to point out a bug in SSMS just right now. I'm going to hit Tools Options. Oh, Moore says I should have done a bet for channel points. That's true. Let's say it's under Text Editor Code Completions. So the new SSMS has Copilot Code Completions. This checkbox doesn't work as of 22.3.3, whichever one I'm on. The code completions are taking effect instantly. That checkbox doesn't seem to be honored. I'm going to check and uncheck it just to show, and then close it. I'm probably also going to use a snippet from this video, like a clip from this video, when I go open a SSMS feedback item here in a second. So I'm going to say select location people from top locations, order by location. And you saw how it was trying to code complete. Ha 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 ha. DK Kimbo says, I know one streamer that would do push-ups on camera for channel points. I have 12,400 query bucks. How many push-ups does that buy? I don't even know if I could do a push-up. I would have to try that because I have not done a push-up in forever. I am legendarily lazy. I will say that I hired a personal trainer 10 years ago. It was back when Erica and I were living in Chicago, maybe even 15 years ago. And the dude was a boxer, and he was lazy. Dev says, did someone say my name? He was a boxer, and he made everything look so easy. Dude had so much core strength and so much body strength. And he's like, okay, so now do a pull-up. And both Erica and I, my ex-wife and I, were in this gym. And I knew I couldn't do a pull-up because I could do them in high school and college, but I knew I was like, there's no way. I know how hard these are. And so I went to grab the bar, and I could not do a pull-up, a real pull-up where you get your chin up above the bar and drop back down, and with good form and all that. And Erica's like, that, there's no way. She's like, how hard can it be to pull your body weight up? She jumps up, and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe. She's like, is there something about the human body that makes that impossible? And the boxer's like, no. And Erica goes, can you do it to show us? And I was like, you should never ask your personal trainer to prove himself. That's kind of insulting. The guy's like, no, that's okay. Here, watch. And he starts doing pull-ups like crazy. And I was like, yeah, that's the difference between strong people. And so we have the location. I also need a row number. Now I need a row number for ranking. And I don't remember if it's row number. Let's try that. Over order by location as rank number. Newer. Let's do that. Let's see if this works. Execute. Yep, good. That worked beautifully. So that gives me my rankings as alphabetically. USA lowercase. Ugh. Okay, so now we have our query. Now we got to insert this into data. So let's copy this, copy, paste. So here's our declare graph data. Insert into that, and then select star from graph spatial data. Oh, that is right. Insert into there. That is correct. Oh, did I do that correctly? Yeah. Let's see what happens. Execute. Whoopsie daisy. With insert into. Oops. So the insert goes after the with. It goes down here. There that goes. Let's try that. Execute. Yeah, that's gorgeous. That's amazing. Now, granted, again, this doesn't make a lot of sense to do in a line graph. You would really want to do in a column graph. But I love just that we can do this. If I was going to do it with a column graph, then I really need labels. I really need labels out there to that would be pop-ups like written in text. So I love this. This is fantastic. We've got enough here to write our blog post because we can see that it works with string labels as well as numeric labels. Love it. That's absolutely fantastic. So I will take this and we'll ship it. I'm going to include this exact video in the blog post just so people can use it. But then we will give them this code so that they can do little graphs over in SSMS just for laughs. Hopefully y'all had fun and learned something. I'm going to call it a stream there because that was really the one thing that I wanted to play with. My deliverables next will be to go write that blog post and then to go file the GitHub or the SSMS issue. I should show you how easy it is to file an SSMS issue. If you go to, Richie sent me a message. Let's see here. What did he say? Just in case it's, well, I says that. Why doesn't it show in Slack? Why doesn't it show in Slack? Hold on a second here. I'm going to look and see if it shows in. Oh, it's the public. Oh, okay. Oh, no, that's a mention. I don't know what's going on there. I'll minimize that. So to show you how, Rishi says I didn't send you anything. That's so weird how that Slack just pulled up. So when I have a problem with SSMS, when you have a problem with SSMS, it's really easy. You can click help and then send feedback and report a problem. So I'm going to click in there. Please be signed in. You suck so bad. So now you get to live my nightmare that is Microsoft authentication. Sign in. Let's get you signed in. Brento at brentozar.com. Please, just take my cache. Thank you, Jesus. Whenever I have to sign in from scratch is a total nightmare because it keeps confusing work and personal accounts and doesn't let me log into one or the other. Hey, come back here. I hate it when you do that. I'm just trying to move you over here in this general direction. There we go. So we'll say, what's the name of that option? It is under Tools, Options, Show Code Completions only after a pause in typing. Show code completions only after a pause in typing doesn't work. Or we'll say Tools, show in SSMS 3.3. I did not mean to open that. 3.3. If you enable Copilot code completions and you go into Tools, Options, and check the box for show code completions only after a pause in typing. Code completions still happen instantly, and hitting tab can result in code completion when you were really just trying to add spacing. Choose how the issue impacts you. It's just more difficult to complete my work. DK Kimbo says pause is relative. It's like the movie Her, I think it was, with the AI that the dude falls in love with. Let's see here. Come on now. Come on now. Microsoft, I want to love you. I really want to love you. I really want to love you, and you make it so hard for me. Let me love you. You shouldn't make me wait for this. I get that you're trying to reduce the number of incoming tickets. DK Kimbo says, where is the bug to report the bugs in the bug reporting form? Or where's the bug report form? But if it times out, don't make me sit here and wait. Have a button on here where I can keep going. Because now I don't know if my type stuff was even saved. Oh, thank God. Okay, that's fine. That's irrelevant. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. So can't find my solutions. Okay, choose how it impacts you. I will choose it again. It's more difficult to complete my work. Submit. What happens next? Okay, so I'm going to view my new feedback. I'm going to put a link in here to, I'm going to cut a clip out of this video and show it happening, and I'll upload that in like YouTube or something as a private video so at least the developers can go see it. All right, so there we go. But at least now you see how easy it is, for better or worse, to report issues. They really do actually look at this. I've report a bunch of feedback issues in Management Studio. It doesn't work as well as SQL Server, the box product. That they tend to ignore that stuff for years. But with Management Studio, the team seems to be pretty responsive in terms of triaging stuff. I submitted one 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and they've already put it to triage and started working on it. I can go in and see. Let's see if I can say, where's my issues? Brent Ozar. I don't want my account. Can I go click on Brent Ozar? Will that do it? Brent Ozar, status active. SSMS feedback. I know there's a page for it. I just don't know how to get it from there. There we go. SSMS user feedback site. And then there's somewhere in here, there's my issues. Has sign in again under there? No, I'm not going to bother doing that. Okay, so I'm going to stop. Unless there's a drop down for my feedback. No, that drop down doesn't even have anything. It's not even a real drop down. It doesn't do anything when you click on the effing button. All right. That's about the end of that. All right, so with that, I'm going to call it quits. I will leave y'all to go back to your normal productive work that actually gets things done and produces value for people. I will write that. Richie says they work on my request right away. No, they do not. They postpone mine as much as they can. And I will publish that blog post. That probably won't go live for a couple of weeks just because I have a full like stream of things that I have to go do. Lazy Dev says, my question is that do they go in Copilot's queue? You can actually assign stuff to Copilot, so I wouldn't be surprised if they assign stuff to Copilot first just to see if it's easy to fix. I've done that before too in the, like last session, I think I did it in GitHub's, or in the first responder kit repo, which is kind of fun. Didn't work very well, but it was fun. All right, so thanks. Hopefully y'all had fun, and I will see y'all on the next stream. Adios.